Good evening, all of you. Welcome to my channel. This is my first video on climate change. Climate change is for real. A call for action we need here to cope with climate change. Fight climate change, protect our planet. What is climate change? Climate change refers to long-term shift in temperature and weather pattern. Such shifts can be natural or anthropogenic. Here, temperature means the degree of hotness and coldness of our planet, and weather means the surrounding condition to any humans. Weather is temperature, humidity, rainfall patterns, and other atmospheric phenomena. If it is long-term shifts in those two temperature and weather pattern, it is called climate change. What is the causes of climate change? There is some natural causes of climate change that affects our climate at large scale, but it is excess due to the emission of greenhouse gases that causes global warming and lead to the climate change. Natural causes is volcanic eruptions, methane emission from wetlands, and the anthropogenic causes is burning of agriculture residue, burning of fossil fuel, constructions and demolition waste, vehicular emissions. This is the anthropogenic causes that, that affect our climate. What is the impacts of climate change? Impact of climate change is desertification, glacier melting, wildfire, island submergence, cloudburst flooding, wildlife extinction, cyclones and hurricanes, ocean heating. This is the impacts that we see and we are and we see today due to climate change. Desertification is the conversion of green land into barren land. Glacier melting is the liquefaction of glacier sheets, and wildfire is the phenomena where a dry forest catch fire and wildlife there is affected most due to the habitat destruction and destroyed of their niche. Island submergence. Many islands are submerged due to level of sea rise due to sea level rise. Cloudburst flooding is a phenomena we can see on the mountains, and wildlife extinction due to climate change because the the animals and species that do not adapt with this climate change environment, they extinct. Cyclones and hurricanes can be seen in the tropical zones and temperate zones. Tropical in the tropical cyclones are the most affected people reside near cyclone. Most affected peoples reside near the seas and on the bank of seas, and there is a ocean heating. What is the evidences of climate change? Evidences of climate change is the Arctic sea ice is declining, snow cover is decreasing, sea level is rising, glaciers are retreating, the ocean is getting warmer, global temperature is rising, And 2024 was the first year to breach global warming limit, that is the 1.5 degree cap above pre-industrial level. The greenhouse gas emission is increasing. The most leading countries is China, US, India. What is the impacts after breach of temperature cap? This is the this is showing the impacts after breaching of each 1 degree cap of temperature above the pre-industrial level. Up to 1 degree Celsius, rare species extinct, coral reef destroyed, island nations underwater. When it go to up to 2 degree Celsius, Greenland melts, polar bear extinct, water supply affected. And after the 3 degree Celsius rise of temperature, environmental refugees come. Environmental refugees, we can we can see food shortage, Amazon collapses. And this is the mass extinction happen after when we go up to 6 degrees Celsius. What is the solution for climate change? We have to cut emissions from the burning fossil fuels and go with reforestation that act as barrier to reduce the climate change. Adapt renewable energy sources like solar, wind, hydro, biomass, geothermal energy, and tidal energy. And we have to adapt the cycle of reduce, reuse, and recycle. There is some global initiative and India and at national level initiative. Global initiative is Paris Agreement, World Sustainable Development Goals, Net Zero Targets, Global NDCs, UNFCCC, Conference of Parties. Key elements of the Paris Agreement on climate change is limit temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius, review countries' commitment to cutting emission every 5 years, provide climate finance to developing countries. And what is net zero target? Here we need to cut down the emission and control the emission by adopting resilient practices. And what is world SDGs that help in controlling climate change? Affordable and clean energy, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, life on land, life below water, climate action. What is the India's initiative? India's initiative is India adopt Panchamrit of life in COP26 at Glasgow summit. Non-fossil electricity capacity 500 gigawatt by 2030 from non-fossil fuels. Electricity from renewable energy, 50% electricity capacity from renewable energy by 2030. Carbon emission reduction, 1 billion tons carbon emission reduction by 2030, 45% reduction in carbon emission intensity of GDP by 2030. Net zero emission by 2070. Thank you for today. This is complete on climate change. Thank you.